Well, I got into acting, I guess, sort of when I was just a little kid. I like always wanted to act. 5 or 6, I was teaching myself how to fall believably or whatever. And so all through junior high and high school and stuff, I was in drama and speech and on the forensics team, just kind of like drama and, you know, doing the theater and stuff.
I got into acting when I was really young too, but it was more like in church we would do like little skits and stuff, and I always enjoyed being a part of them, even though I was really bad at it. I kind of dropped off from it too, simply because I didn't have access to it really. My parents were kind of strict, I guess you could say, so there wasn't much stuff that I could do growing up. But now that I'm like an adult, you know, technically, I feel like I can finally like branch out and really, you know, get back into it like I wanted to all that time.
The play is just hysterical. I love how funny it is, even for it being having been written in like 1940 and set for England. Even today, most of the jokes still kill, and a lot of the humor is still there and really punches. I think it's great.
It is really funny, and I kind of like the almost like kind of intellectual humor about it, which I really like, just because it gets your brain kind of going. In our acting class that we're taking, we learn kind of the Meisner method and how to be sort of just very real and very not showy, I guess you could say. But in a play like this, you kind of have to be sort of a little over the top, just a little bit, but enough to make me feel like, am I doing this right? You know what I mean? But you know, it's good practice, I like it.
Yeah, a play is always presentational to some degree, and what we're learning, the method really focuses a lot on not being presentational, being very realistic and stuff, which works really great for like film work or camera work, because you know, the audience can be right here. But when you're on a stage, even as realistic as you can be, you still have to project so that the audience in the back of the theater can hear you, and there's always you have to cheat out and make sure the audience can see you, because the audience doesn't move with the camera like it would in film work. When I did forensics is a different thing. Interpretation is what they call it. It's like acting, except you don't get to move around, and you, for the most part, you play all the characters. So, for example, I did one scene from The Hobbit where Bilbo is talking to Smaug the dragon when doing that little riddles, the barrel rider and all that. And the differentiation between characters is all in voice and focal point. So, you know, as Bilbo, he is this tiny little guy looking at a big giant dragon, so his focal point is like way up here. And Smaug is this big giant dragon trying to find this little hobbit, so his focal point kind of moved around over here. So I just changed voice and changed spot to differentiate the characters. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
It's weird though.
Wow. But I also remember that in middle school we did Dear Edwina. I was just a dancer, you know, like I think I was on an island or something like that. And I was the only one doing the dance. So that was depressing. But, oh, and I also was in Bye Bye Birdie as like part of the teen choir. Yeah, so.
It had been nearly 30 years since I had done anything, so I didn't know, well, what do I need for an audition? What do I need, you know, what should I be doing? What should I be looking for? I was like, you know what, I'll wait. I'm taking acting 1 this semester. I'll go through that, and I'll gain some of that knowledge, and I'll, you know, be able to talk to people, you know, talk to Sandra, our acting teacher, and get all sorts of great knowledge. So I kind of let that one slide, and then when this one came up, I don't think there was anything in particular that said, oh, it's an old coward play, you've got to go for it. But it was the next production, and I wanted to go for it. I want at least to audition, you know.
Yeah, that's actually kind of the same thing that happened to me, because I wanted to audition for Beauty and the Beast, but I hadn't done anything like that in like so long, and the classes were just about to start, like right after the audition, I think it was. And I was like, I'd better like make sure I know what I'm doing before I get in here and try to audition for a role. For me, it's a little bit of both, I think. I have a backup plan, like if it doesn't work out, but I definitely want to go for it. My backup plan is librarian, because I love libraries. And I work at a library actually, but yeah, just a little tidbit there. But
I would love to make like a second career out of it. Ultimately, I just want to act. Whether that turns out to be community theater, and college theater and whatnot, or whether that turns out to be a film or TV career or whatever, I just want to act. So I would love for it to be a career, but one of the bonuses is being retired. I'm not dependent on it as a career. Literally, I have 17-year-olds in some of my classes because they do the dual enrollment and stuff. So there are several of my peers that are like a year older than my son. But I think it's really great because it allows for, that's one of the things I love about the community college atmosphere, because you get so many more non-traditional students. So you get a wider range of viewpoints because, in a college course, much more so than in, say, a high school or something, you're learning from your peers as much as you are from the instructor. You get those viewpoints. So it's really cool to get sort of that younger viewpoint of like the millennials or whatever, and how they view things and how they see any particular thing we're learning.
It's so funny because, I'm not like one of the like main characters, but for whatever reason they're like so eager to include me and to like encourage me, and I don't know, it makes things a lot better than they could be. It makes me a lot less lonely.
I like interesting characters more necessarily than prominent characters.
All of the characters I've ever wanted to play have been guys, so it's probably never gonna happen. But I guess if I had to pick one that I could potentially play, it would probably be Ariel, because I relate to her a lot from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Moana.
Oh,
Or Moana. If there were ever like
yeah.
a Moana play. Is there a Moana play? I don't think there is.
I don't think there is yet, but
Yeah.
I
Some will.
Oh yeah, I'm
Eventually,
sure that'll happen.
yeah, eventually. Or if they ever come out with a Marvel movie about Miss America, I want to play her.
Oh yeah.
America Chavez, she's...
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we bring a sort of modern view to it. There are a few lines in it that at the time were accepted ideas, but now are a little bit archaic and even problematic, at some points.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that we're able to, like, as, people on the stage, like, react in a way that sort of shows that for what it is instead of what it might have been back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think also that moving the setting, so we moved the setting from a small village in England to New England, like Connecticut. I think there's a certain American sensibility. It helps that we're all Americans, so we kind of have those automatically. But I think it brings sort of a new angle on some of it. Although some of the verbiage, the way Noel Coward writes is very 1930s, 1940 England, and we're using his words. They're still his words. So some of it feels a little weird in an American mouth, but I think it's a good marriage of the two.
Well, it's spooky, which is awesome, and it's a mystery, so, that's enough to intrigue me. I love mysteries.
Well, how can you go wrong with a love triangle when one of the characters is dead, and in a comedy? How can you miss that?
Yeah.
Someone come out and see it. So. You got to come out and see it.
It's an obligation.